The great debate, artist or creator. They are one and the same, but yet they are distinctly different. Artists are more focused on evoking an emotion. They want you to feel something, they want you to see something, they want you to hear something that you possibly might not see, feel, or hear. And again, it's not to force it on you, it's just for your interpretation. Artists are usually someone who is more concerned about how they want it to look, and you're not going to change how they want it to look. Creators, on the other hand, will create systems, they will create pathways like innovation of tech. Think about this app itself. I don't think when TikTok started itself that it knew it was built for artists, but it became something that was built for artists to then express and share their work for others around the world to then be inspired and or utilized. Because at the end of the day, if you are an artist, your art will always be used, admired, replicated, stolen. It is what it is. That's why it's important to have a business mindset when you are putting your artwork out there, music, painting, fashion, whatever, and make sure that it is set on the business front, right? Make sure that it is registered, trademarked, whatever. If you're not there, that's okay, you'll get there. But the point is remember, once you share it with the public, somebody's going to take it. That is why it's important to understand the business side. Creators, on the other hand, they're more about creating systems. They're more about expression of ideas. It doesn't matter if it's artistic, it doesn't matter if it's business, it doesn't matter if it's politics. Creators create things that they see people want and they see that people need or desire. I consider myself an artistic creator, right? Where I create things that I believe are just expression for myself. And then I am also a creator where I do things where I know it's for business only. And I understand that there is no real artistic element to it because I used AI to do it, right? I'm not going to ever be contradictory in what I say or do. If I'm like writing my blogs, my art in that moment is the writing. But the cover art, I use it because I don't have time to sit and draw or pay a person to make all these pictures for me when I'm just trying to put out words. And unfortunately, I've tried to just do blogs where it's only the words and people don't want to read it. People want pictures because that's the psychology of humans. And so you're stuck in this middle ground of I want to do business, but I need to appeal to the visuals of the artistic side of the human condition. So we have to remember as artists and creators, we work together in this. I want all artists to remember that if you are tapped into source and every day, we've said this before, and you wake up and you just want to create and nothing is stopping you and nothing is saying I can't, and you just do it naturally every day and it makes you feel good because you just love to do it. And then someday somebody comes by and says, oh my God, I love what you do. Can I buy that? That is up to you to monetize your art. You don't have to. Most artists feel they have to monetize their art. You don't have to unless you want to live off your art, but you have to remember that there is a duality and a double-edged sword to both of these worlds. Once you step into the creator world as an artist, you don't want to burn yourself out on trying to build a bunch of commission pieces for people unless you know that the demand is there. What you should do is the pieces that do the best, that's where you make them into posters, make them into stickers, make them into a sweater or a hat, right? Because you're popular for that piece. Look at, I mean, Van Gogh, the people who've done these pieces, they did a ton of pieces, but they're most famous for these one or two pieces. And then people who are in business, creators, they come around and slap their logo on it and then resell you the experience. This is how it's always been. So I want us to remember that going into 2025, I know a lot of people are going to be either on this app or not on this app, depending on what they decide. Again, the universe is what the universe is. You have to find the ways to make it work for you because there's multiple platforms out there with multiple audiences. So you have to figure out, do you want to create a space for you to express your art, or do you want to create a space for you to just create? It's nothing wrong with wanting to do both. But I think the frustration keeps happening when people think as artists, you're supposed to do it the way a creator does it. And we've already made people realize. Somebody told me, they're like, why are you an influencer? I do not consider myself an influencer because I'm not creating content to try to influence people. I'm creating content as a library of information for people to come back and reference if they choose to. So when I built my brand, I knew from the jump I am not about to be making content that everybody else is making just so I can get a bunch of likes and views so that I could possibly get monetized. That is a business aspect of it. Now, there's artists who really just want to share their work and they hope that they get monetized. That is okay too. But you have to remember that don't feel scared or nervous by how things are evolving. The one thing that is most important as an artist is our tools, our materials, right? And you're only as good as what? The way that you express yourself with those tools and those materials. So the vision will always be in your mind, right? The textures are always in your mind, in your experience, in your heart. So however you express that is how you will give it back to the world. Now, as a creator, it's the same difference. I feel a lot of people who are artists, sometimes, if they're distorted artists, don't get me wrong. When you say artist, it doesn't mean that you're nice and open hearted to everything. No, some artists are egotistical, cold hearted, and very into themselves. And they think that it has to be done the old way, that it has to be accredited by this university or this art school or this person or group of people who says it's good for it to be art. And that's not true either. Creation itself is art, but there is a level of, yes, I am not disciplined in a certain way of presenting my art, but I am disciplined in creating a story, right? I can tell a story in many different ways and many different elements, and it doesn't have to have one piece of artistic quality to it beyond the way that I paint the picture with my words. But remember, what makes words artistic is the expression of senses. I could say a descriptor and just tell you this is what it looked like. It was black and blue and it was meant for this. Or I can say it had a hue of smoky darkness that made the womb of the heart feel open, right? To me, that's the same sentence. One is just an expression of emotions, one is an expression of information. So when you understand that a creator is about information and an artist is about emotion, it makes it a lot easier for you to understand that no one is here to take away from what you can give. If you are ready to give and willing to give, you're going to find a way to do it regardless. That's why the arts are so important, because we know that no matter what, if we're leaving a legacy, the legacy will be left. So you don't get to decide that legacy. You can go your whole life and no one know who you are. And you can pass away and someone discover a piece of your art and now you're famous after death. This is why I say do stuff for the soul, not for the human. I love the human condition. I love my human self. But I also know that I don't do it for my human self. I do it for my soul self. And my soul self likes to express things in a way that are deeper, that makes you go further into your consciousness, that makes you want to understand, why does he talk like this? Why does he always use such big words or this and that? And I love to use things that have normally been frowned upon, which is, oh, that's too long. People are going to want to read that. People don't want to be invested in that. I'm not doing it for people. I'm doing it for the soul. The soul has been here for eons and decades and years, right? So they have nothing but time to digress and digest in anything that I present because that's who I'm talking to. So again, when you know who your audience is, when you know your purpose behind doing it, when we talk about purpose, we're not saying that you're worthless if you don't do it. We're saying what gives you the motivation and the fuel to want to do what you're doing. And if it's only for money, then you're going to be lost every time. If it's only for validation, you're going to be lost every time. I create because I want to make the system of creating easier. So I do that by being an example. That's why I create. So if I do that, maybe someone else be like, oh, I can do it myself. That's the whole purpose of what I do. Some people, they only do it for themselves. I don't think anything's wrong with that either. But I don't want us to keep feeling like we're invalidated because AI or new systems of ways of expressing are now allowing others to express their creative energy. Imagination is in all of us. How we choose to give it to the world is our choice. But if we're only going to sit on our hands and say, I can't do that, or point fingers when others do it because we don't like the way they're doing it, then what's the point? Anywho, hope that makes sense. Love ya.